Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Daria if you are new here, and this is Spooky Season, episode 6. So in today's practice, it's called Defying Gravity because we're going to be working with the element of air. We'll find maybe some arm balances, maybe some inversions, and just overall feeling a little bit lighter and floatier. So all that you'll need for this practice is yourself and some place to move, and whenever you're ready, let's go ahead and get into it. We'll start today in Supta Baddha Konasana, reclined bound angle pose. So we'll come down to lie on our backs, bring the soles of your feet to touch, and then let your knees flop open wide like a butterfly, and then just gently make your way down. You can rest one hand to your low belly and one to your heart. Close your eyes if that feels comfortable, and then begin to melt down into the earth beneath you. So before we begin to defy gravity, first we'll get a little more comfortable settling in, finding some grounding, some relaxation, some softening. Start to notice how you're feeling today or tonight in this moment, allowing whatever you're experiencing to be exactly as it is. And just watching any thoughts or emotions or physical sensations as they flow by. Begin to become aware of the quality of your breath. Is it deep? Is it shallow? Are you breathing into your chest or into your full torso? Begin deepening the breath so that it carries from your low belly into the middle belly all the way up to the tops of both lungs. Take a big sigh out through your mouth to let that air go. Let go of your day so far. Let go of yesterday and all of the yesterdays before that. Take as many clearing breaths through your mouth as you need to fully drop, fully surrender. And then, if it's in your practice, you can find Ujjayi breath in and out through the nose with the quality of oceanic sound. Begin to soften your outer hips. Allow your knees to fall open just a little bit more. Take 2 more breaths here for yourself to sink, to settle, and to arrive. And take your hands to the outsides of your thighs. Gently close your knees all the way back together. And then take your hands behind your legs, pull your knees in, and we'll rock and roll the length of the spine a few times, forward and back. Start to engage your core by pulling your belly button towards your spine. Hopefully your floor isn't as squeaky as mine is. Take 2 more rocks, and then we'll find our way all the way to the top of the mat, pausing here. Cross at your ankles, roll over your shins. We'll plant the palms and find a tabletop pose. So hands and knees all fours, shoulders are over the wrists, hips are over the knees. And let's bring in now some organic, stretchy, juicy movement. So it might be cat-cow shapes. You might find circles through the pelvis or the rib cage or the head. You might explore until you find a sticky spot and then pause and breathe into it. Whatever you need. There's no rules, there's no boundaries, there's no limits, just move. Try to let your mind go so the body and the breath can be your guide. We'll take 2 more rounds of breath here. Make them deep and full. Breathe into the back line of your body. And then let's find a neutral spine, a steady tabletop once again. Then stretch your right toes all the way back behind you and pick up your right leg so that it's in line with your torso. Root into all four corners of your right hand as you stretch your left fingertips toward the top of your mat. So there's a duality here. We're pulling together into the midline from the right palm to the left knee while simultaneously stretching longer from left fingertips to right toes. So grow in two directions as you inhale here. Then as you exhale, carry your right leg to the right and your left arm to the left. So the leg comes out from your hip and the arm comes out from the shoulder, awkward airplane. And we'll just hover here, breathe and elongate. And then revolve everything back where it started, left fingertips forward, right toes back, and then find a tabletop again, root right knee, root left palm. And we'll switch. So this time the left toes will go long and back behind you. Pick up the foot. Then root your left index finger mound and reach forward through your right fingertips. Simultaneously pull toward the midline and reach away from it. Then on an exhale, begin to glide, hover. Right arm out from right shoulder, left leg out from left hip, and we'll hold here in awkward airplane just for one breath. Dig your right toenails down into the mat. And then we'll revolve and reach everything back away from the midline, right fingertips forward, left fingertips back, and find tabletop again. Good. From here, tuck your toes. As you inhale, soften your low belly down. Lift your heart, lift your gaze like a cow shape, but with the toes tucked. Then exhale, glide your hips back towards your heels, but keep pulling forward with your heart. Fingertips dig down, but you might walk your palms just a little more forward. Then inhale to round through hands and knees. Squeeze your inner thighs together. Hollow your belly. Shift a little forward. On your exhale, press down and forward into your palms. Glide your hips up and back. Downward facing dog. And again, find a bit of organic movement. This could be pedaling the feet. This could be rocking your hips from side to side. Maybe swivel your heels to one side of the mat and then the other. Anything that feels good, anything that feels expressive, creative, freeing. Once you've played a bit, find a more solidly rooted foundation. Press your palms down and forward to elongate your spine. Lift the tailbone up and back. You can keep a micro bend or a larger bend in your knees. Then root into your toes. Magnetize your heels toward the earth. As you inhale, lift your heels, charge your quads, hollow your belly. We'll round forward to high plank pose, suctioning your front body up toward your back body as you glide forward. Then micro bend knees and elbows, and we'll glide all the way back, downward facing dog. Pull your sacrum as your lead up and back. Inhale, lift your heels, wave it forward, high plank, be like water, so fluid, so flowy. Exhale, glide back, downward facing dog. Two more like that, riding breath. Inhale, lift your heels, wave forward, high plank pose. Exhale, downward facing dog. Last one, inhale. And exhale. Once again, inhale, lift your heels, round forward, high plank. Exhale this time. See how slowly you can sink both of your knees down to the mat at the same time in the same way, but go so slow. So we're defying gravity here, pressing away from the mat, using the core to keep the knees hovering, still hovering, and then finally melt them down. Once they connect, inhale, drop your belly, lift your gaze, lift your heart. Exhale, hips towards heels, active child's pose, glide it back. Inhale through hands and knees, rounded spine. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your heels, round forward, high plank pose. Exhale, melt both of your knees down at the same time. In the same way, going so slowly once they connect. Inhale, traction your palms back towards your thighs as you curl your spine. And then exhale, hips toward heels, keeping the shape, that cow shape in the spine as you glide back. Then inhale through hands and knees, round forward. And exhale, glide it back, downward facing dog. Press the earth away from you. We'll go one more round through this sequence. Inhale, lift your heels, wave forward, high plank pose. Exhale, melt your knees down to the mat. As you inhale, curl your tailbone toward the sky, curl your heart toward the top of the mat. Sitting bones stretch away from each other. Exhale, hips toward heels, heart pulls forward. Inhale, hands and knees rounded spine. Exhale, downward facing dog. One breath here. Find more rooting, find more depth in your breath. Breathe into the back line of your body. Begin to press your left toes down, and as you inhale, sweep your right leg high for three-legged down dog. Then stack right hip over left, bend your right knee. Keep both armpits facing toward the earth as you stretch your right toes as far as they'll go toward the left side of your mat while keeping a micro bend in the left knee. Inhale here. As you exhale, square your hips again, then stretch your right toes toward the sky. One more inhale, engage your right glute to lift the leg just a bit higher. And exhale, hug your knee into your chest. Step your right foot all the way to the top of the mat. Inhale, high crescent lunge, both big toe mounds root down firmly. Dig into the earth, then lift your fingertips and your heart high left heel is hovering. Exhale. Plant your fingertips to the top of your mat. Step your left foot up, hips distance away from the right, and fold. One breath here. Big inhale. And on your exhale, surrender your torso all the way forward and down. Inhale, shift the weight back into your heels, bending your knees deeply. Then connect your core and sweep your fingertips all the way up for Utkatasana, chair pose, but the feet are staying hips distance apart. Slide your shoulder blades down your back. Dig into what you're feeling. Build little fires, little activations in your outer hips, your inner thighs, your quads, your glutes. So strong. One more inhale here, lengthen. Then as you exhale, bow so that your heart comes towards your thighs. Stretch your fingertips back, but keep your gaze forward and your heart puffy, sink deeper. Inhale, we'll rise all the way up to mountain pose, Tadasana. Press your pelvis forward, then your rib cage, then your heart, fingertips and gaze lift. Exhale, palms to your heart. We'll dive it down back to a fold. Inhale here for a halfway lift to elongate and stretch it out. And exhale, plant your palms, step your feet back, high plank. Lowered chaturanga, elbows into your rib cage. Untuck the toes, inhale, upward facing dog. Press the earth away, expand the front line of your body. Exhale, belly initiates the glide back, downward facing dog. Right toes root, inhale, left leg lifts high, then stack your hip and bend your knee. Micro bend right knee and stretch your left toes all the way toward the right side of your mat, almost as if you could stretch them towards your right armpit or your right shoulder. Then square the hips back down so all 5 of your left toes face the mat. Stretch your leg high, inhale. Exhale, glide your left foot all the way to the top. Step it between your thumbs as softly as possible. Press into the earth. Inhale, we'll rise, high crescent lunge. Square the hips, shoulders are soft. Exhale, fingertips root in front of your left toes. Right foot steps all the way to the top, hips distance away, and we fold. One breath here. Inhale, chair pose, sink low. Toes are bright. Zip up through your core as your fingertips reach high. And then settle. Dig deeper. Sink deeper. Try to keep your low belly connected and your chest proud, even as the hips melt closer toward the earth. One more inhale. Grow your spine like a vine. Then exhale, glide your heart toward your thighs. Fingertips go back, heart stretches forward. Inhale, we'll rise all the way up to stand mountain pose, Tadasana. Exhale, palms through heart center as we dive it down, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, stretch out your spine. Exhale, palms plant. We'll step the feet back and we'll lower through chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, ride your breath back to downward facing dog. We'll begin to move with a bit more pace, and we'll add in some fun little adjustments here, so stay listening. Inhale, right leg lifts high. Open the hip, bend the knee. Take a few knee circles this round. If you'd like, you can keep your knee straight or keep it bent, whatever feels the best. And then we'll reverse the direction of the circle. Then square your hips. Inhale, kick high, three-legged down dog. Exhale, knee pulls toward your chest, and step right foot all the way to the top. Root it there, and as you inhale, we'll rise all the way to high crescent lunge. Inner thighs pull together to stabilize. Exhale, palms plant in front of your right toes. Left foot steps to the top, hips distance away, and fold. Right away, inhale, sink deeply down, fingertips sweep, high chair pose. Exhale, sink even deeper as your heart reaches forward and your fingertips glide back behind you. Inhale. This time as you rise, press into your right foot, lift your left knee, one-legged mountain pose, and exhale for standing pigeon. Cross your left ankle over your right thigh. Palms meet in front of your heart. Then we'll bend the right knee and begin to sink the hips back. Find a steady focus. One point for your gaze, your drishti. Palms pressed together in front of your heart. Left toes stay actively flexed. And allow yourself to deepen with every exhale. Dig deeper into what you're feeling. Come back to your strong ujjayi. Inhale, we'll rise all the way back up, one-legged mountain pose. As you exhale, skim the mat with your left foot, but don't put it down. Open your arms out to a cactus shape, and then we'll stretch back to airplane pose. So toes go back, heart pulls forward. Keep engagement into your back body. Keep your belly button pulling up towards your spine. All 5 of your right toes face down toward the earth. Now, we will play with gravity. So stretch your arms forward, bend deeply into your right knee. See how slowly and softly and gently you can step your left toes back behind you, angling them out toward 45 degrees. So we're setting up for warrior 1. So finally the foot lands, and then root it there. Dig into gravity and rise your fingertips all the way up high. Exhale, plant your palms to frame your right foot. Pick it up, we'll step back to high plank, lower chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog, glide back. Inhale, sweep your left leg high, stack your hip and bend your knee. Find a few easy circles, mobilizing, opening through the hip joint. A few in each direction. Keeping a micro bend in your right knee. And then on your next inhale, square your hips, left leg lifts high. Exhale, lift your right heel. Hollow your core as you step so softly through. Skim the mat with the left foot and see if you can put it down really quietly. Inhale, high crescent lunge, fingertips float up overhead. Exhale, we'll plant the fingertips, right toes, step all the way to the top, hips distance away. Inhale, Utkatasana. We sink deep. We rise high with the fingertips. Exhale, heart forward. Chest to thighs, fingertips glide back. Inhale. This time we'll rise all the way up to stand. Root down into the left foot as your right knee lifts high, one-legged mountain. And on the exhale, flex your right foot, thread it over the top of your left thigh, creating a figure 4 shape, and we'll sink for standing pigeon. If your balance is wobbly, if you're calibrating, that is totally great, totally normal. Sometimes we really need to feel off balance in order to find more balance. Can you soften around the edges of what you're feeling and take 2 more breaths here? Then inhale, dig down into the earth from your left glute all the way into your heel as you rise your right knee and your fingertips. Then exhale, skim the mat with your right foot. Open the arms to cactus. Heart pulls forward, fingertips glide back. Now imagine that there's someone has a string that's attached to your heart and they're pulling it forward, but there's also someone with a string attached to your right big toe and they're pulling it back. So elongating evenly in 2 directions, then begin to keep the length as you stretch your arms forward. Right toes, so slowly step back behind you, deeply bend your left knee. Intentionally place the right foot down at 45 and we'll inhale, rise. Warrior 1, right heel roots, tuck your sitting bones underneath you. Exhale, palms plant. Step your left foot back to high plank and float, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. One breath here, big inhale, send it from your palms up to your tailbone. And send the exhale from tailbone all the way down into your heels. Inhale, lift your right leg, 3-legged down dog, stack your hip, bend your knee. And then square the hips, inhale, kick high. Exhale, step to the top, low lunge. Inhale, high lunge, fingertips rise. Exhale, we step all the way forward with the left foot, feet hips distance apart. Inhale, sink low and back into your heels, fingertips reach high, Utkatasana. Exhale, heart to thighs, fingertips glide back. Inhale, press into your right foot, left knee lifts, 1-legged mountain. Exhale, flex the left foot, cross it over the right thigh, standing pigeon and sink, palms to your hearts. Now, you're welcome to stay here if you'd like, and you feel like you are open today. You can bring your forearms in front of your left shin. Try to keep length here so your butt's going back and your heart's reaching forward. If you'd like a little more, you can play with bringing your fingertips down to the mat, and maybe we'll play with an arm balance. So we can take the figure 4 variation of crow pose by hooking your left toes to the very, very top of your right tricep. Lift your right heel so you can root your palms down, then shift your weight forward. So heart is stretching forward, butt is stretching back, and maybe hover your right toes away from the mat. Magnetize your elbows toward each other, gaze about a foot in front of your fingers. Stay here, or if you'd like to try for flying pigeon, you can begin to stretch your right leg all the way long and back behind you. Heart forward, butt back. One more breath. If you were in the flying pigeon, draw your leg back in, root your right foot down. If you're in standing pigeon, we'll all begin to rise out of it as gracefully as possible. Lifting up to stand, left knee high, fingertips high, 1-legged mountain. Exhale, we'll glide all the way back to airplane pose. Heart is stretching forward, toes are stretching back. Inhale here. Then as you exhale, reach your arms forward, bend your right knee deeply. How slowly can you transition the left foot back to warrior 1, big toe roots, then pinky toe, then your heel, and inhale, rise high. Exhale, palms plant. This time, if you'd like, find a 1-legged chaturanga so the right leg can float. Lower down halfway. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. One more round through this sequence, or one more side through this sequence. So inhale, left leg lifts high, stack the hip, bend the knee. Then inhale, square hips, left leg lifts. Exhale, step through low lunge. Inhale, high lunge, press down as much as you rise high. Exhale, find the top of your mat in a forward fold, feet hips distance apart. Inhale, chair, sink low, reach high. Exhale, chest to thighs, fingertips glide back. Inhale, dig down into your left heel and your left big toe as right knee lifts, 1-legged mountain. As you exhale, flex your right toes, cross your right ankle over your left thigh, and we'll begin to sit down deeply into standing pigeon. Palms to your heart, steady your breath. Elongate your inhales and your exhales and stay and breathe here, or maybe bring the forearms to the fronts of your right shin. Maybe from here, hollow through your belly as you draw your right toes to the top of your left tricep. Lift your left heel, rooting your palms if you're going for the arm balance. Shift forward so the weight moves into your fingertips. And then maybe begin to pick up your left foot. From here, maybe begin to find flying pigeon, stretching your left leg all the way back behind you. Couple more breaths to play. If you're in the arm balance, begin to reground into your feet. And we'll all rise back up through figure 4 to stand. Inhale, one-legged mountain, right knee high, fingertips float up. Exhale, glide your right foot to skim the mat. Open your arms to cactus. Then reach forward with your heart and back with your right toes. Inhale to elongate, stretch your arms forward, deeply bend your left knee, and as slowly as possible, slower than you think you can, right toes out at 45. Land your foot, then pull up through your core as your fingertips rise, warrior 1. Exhale, plant your palms. This time maybe hover the left foot, Ekapada Chaturanga, lower down halfway. Inhale. Upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Go ahead and sink both of your knees down to the mat. Bring your hips to sit back onto your heels. And then just flip your palms face up on your thighs. Close your eyes and drop. And try not to fidget or wiggle, but just bask in stillness and feel so that you can observe. Notice the effects. Give yourself some room to process. You can clear the breath with an open mouth exhale if that feels good. Let all of that go. Any thoughts or emotions that might have come up during that challenging arm balance if you went for it. Blink your eyes open. And now we'll just play with some handstand hops. So we're not trying to create a perfect handstand today. If you have a really strong inversion practice and you'd like to play or take anything differently than what I'm cueing to, go for it. But if you're with me, let's go ahead and find a shortened downward facing dog. So you can find down dog first and then just walk your feet in just a little bit. So we will lift the right leg as if we're going to a 3-legged down dog. Begin to lift your left heel and just notice how your weight shifts a little forward into your fingertips. And we'll just take some nice and easy hops, lifting off of the left toes, gazing between the palms. So the right leg is sort of the impetus, that momentum, as it swings down and then swings up. And the hops can be little baby hops. Maybe you catch some air and maybe you hover in a handstand, or maybe not today, whatever. Take 2 more on this side. Good, and then we'll switch. So if you need a break in between, totally fine. Come down to your knees, close your eyes. Take a little moment to drop in, and when you're ready, we'll sweep the left leg high, pick up your right heel, bend your right knee, swing the left leg down, and then up. So one side might feel a lot stronger than the other or a lot more intuitive. That's okay. Just be where you are. We'll take 3 more hops. On this side, swing your left leg high. Good, and then when you're all finished here, widen your feet to a little wider than hips distance with the toes turned to face out. We'll just sink the hips down between the heels, malasana. Let's take a couple breaths here. Palms meet in front of your heart. Anchor down through your tailbone. Lift up through the crown of your head like it's a balloon. Breathe along the length of your spine. Collarbones pull away from each other. Okay, so we'll play with just one more version of some handstand hops. We'll take little frog jumps. So the palms root down deeply. Feet can stay about where they are. Just lift both heels. Bend your knees a lot. And we'll just play with jumping up. So it's like you're kicking your heels in towards your butt like you're a frog. Gaze stays between your palms. Maybe catch some air, hang out, or maybe not. Or just playing. Let your mat be like a trampoline, so as soon as your feet lift, you rebound and go right back up. 3 more here. Good. And now sink your knees down to the mat, widen them, toes come together to touch, and we'll find a nice, sweet child's pose. So reconnect to gravity. Drop your forehead down. Breathe along the length of your spine. So sometimes with these arm balances or inversions, anything where we're going upside down or really just stepping outside of our comfort zones, it can bring up some fear. It can cause our bodies to go into a state of contraction. And so as we rest in child's pose now, remind yourself that you're safe right here. You can feel so deeply rooted into the earth in this shape. Reconnect to gravity and allow this security to let your muscles start to fall away from your bones so that everything softens and expands. All that contracting can now release. Big inhale through your nose. And let's all take a big sigh out through the mouth. Good. Begin to crawl your fingertips all the way back in towards your knees. And we'll come down to a seat. Feet go in front toward the top of your mat. One little baby bit of core work. We'll roll to lie down. So stretch your palms forward facing the sky, big toes root. Inhale here, puff your heart. Then as you exhale, we'll roll slowly down for 5. Draw your belly button towards your spine for 4. For 3, collarbones stretch away from each other. For 2, shoulder blades are still lifted. 4, 1, good, and rest all the way down. Now draw your heels in so close that you can tickle them with your fingertips. Lift and spread your toes so that your pelvic floor lifts, and then press into what's connected to the mat. Back of heart and back of head. We'll rise up to bridge. Squeeze your inner thighs together. Expand the front body as you contract the back body. Maybe the shoulders glide together underneath you. Maybe the fingers interlace at the base of your spine. Lift your hips higher. And then begin to soften your glutes just a bit. So as you soften the glutes, lift from your pubic bone up to your sternum. It's like your tailbone is tucking slightly under, but try to keep that little bit of softness in your butt. One more breath here. And then we'll lower all the way down, rolling one vertebra at a time back to the earth. Step your feet out to the wide edges of your mat. Let your knees fall in onto each other. Palms can face up toward the sky. Close your eyes and just breathe in broken bridge. Blink your eyes open if you closed them. We'll pull the knees in toward the chest about halfway. Widen your arms out to a T or maybe a cactus. And then drop your knees toward the left side of your mat. You can wiggle and adjust, shifting your hips, finding an easy twist that feels good for you today. Maybe the gaze falls over the right elbow or the right fingertips. Soften down. Surrender everything. Roll Roll back through center, hugging the knees in halfway. You can pick up the hips and shift them slightly to the left as you drop your knees toward the right side of the mat. Arms are wide. Relax your toes, relax your feet. Let the palms of your hands soften and expand. Every knuckle relaxes, every finger relaxes. Roll back through center, coming to lie on your back. If there's any final postures that you'd like to take to close out your practice, please do so. And then when you're ready, let's all meet, coming into a big hug. So knees pull in, arms wrap around your shins, squeeze yourself so tight, big hug. Inhale here. Exhale, big release, Shavasana, corpse pose. Toes stretch toward the corners of your mat and then fall open. Palms are wide. Take up as much space as you need to feel really open. And then let gravity blanket you downward. Imagine that you're being pulled, magnetized, suctioned right to the core of the earth. Let go of all the tiny muscles in your face, around your jaw, your cheekbones, your temples, your sinuses, your eyes. Tongue falls away from the roof of your mouth and fall into deep, deep relaxation. Stay here until you feel like a big puddle, like you're gooey and spread out all over. And if you're ready to begin coming out, begin by deepening your breath from the low belly all the way up to your heart. And let your air be warm and soothing. Find little movements in your fingertips and your toes. Wake yourself so gently back up. When you're ready, find a long body stretch. Reach your arms back behind you. Fingers and toes pull in opposite directions. Inhale here. And then one more time, exhale and drop everything down. Now, stay here and imagine that anything you don't need to carry anymore is coming out of your body, releasing into the imprint that you make in the earth beneath you. Leave all that residue there and then roll out of it into fetal pose. One side or the other, rest your head to your bicep, palms face the ground. Then press into your palms. Keep your eyes closed or soften your gaze and we'll rise to a seat. Sitting bones anchor you downward, knees fall wide, and then bring your palms to meet in front of your heart. And so feel along the middle channel of your body from the root of where you sit, and then grow all the way up through the crown of your head into the sky. Feel the duality between how deeply rooted you are and how airy and lifted you are all at once, simultaneously feeling gravity and defying it. Take one more breath here for you. Big inhale. Clearing exhale. Then lift your thumbs up to your third eye and bow forward. Namaste. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me today and for working with defying gravity, playing with gravity, feeling gravity, all of the gravity things that we did. Sometimes these arm balances and inversions can feel scary and intimidating, so remember to stick with it and remember that it's a process, it's a journey, and the more that you play, the more that you encounter that fear and leave your comfort zone, the more comfortable it will start to feel. So I hope that you enjoyed this class, and if you're not already, make sure to subscribe to my channel down below because that really supports me. I hope you're doing really well and have a great rest of your day or your night. I'll see you in the next practice. Bye.